you've done this before. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Gracie Note. I am here with the one and only director, Ron Chapman. He has put together a cultural experience and documentary full of music and the wonderful Carlos Varela. Can you kind of talk about where your journey began?
I was, really overwhelmed by the music, by the diversity of music there, by the diversity of genres, by the level of musicianship that the artists had, and the breadth of it. I had no idea that the music, that there was such a variety of music that was played there. I mean, it was everything from rumba to rap. So I started I wanted to sort of take that message to the world. I realized the last film that really came out was Fuentes to Social Club about 17 years ago. It only showed this pre-revolutionary style of music called son. It's an old style, and people in the world think that's Cuban music. And for a variety of reasons, I mean, because of the embargo, because Cuban artists couldn't sign with multinational labels, because they couldn't export their product, because Cubans themselves couldn't get visas to travel elsewhere. I became friends with a lot of the musicians and got to know them, and I realized that one of the big issues that they had, and that the world had at the same time is if you can't sell a CD to a country, if you can't go to that country and play, how are people ever going to hear or know your music or know it's there? And so I realized that the world really had no idea about what existed, this incredible wealth of music in Cuba. I met Carlos Varela and came across his music, and his music reached out to me and touched me in a way that few artists have in my lifetime, and so I started to do some more research on him and listen to more of his music, and by the way, when I went to Cuba, I did not speak Spanish, so I was not a Spanish speaker. I had translators with me, but in terms of his music, it was sort of fascinating for me because his music was incredibly accessible. It brought me in right away, and it was almost as if I understood what he was saying without even understanding what he was saying. And I then started to do more research, like in terms of translating his lyrics and understanding what he was saying. And within his music, even though a lot of it was very much about social, cultural, or political issues that existed within Cuba, there was a universality to his messaging and to his music, the actual structure of his music as well as his lyrics, that I found was unique and really, I fell in love with. And when I started looking, I mean, he has been written up as being one of the top 10 great writers of our time. When great artists have come to Cuba, when Sting came to Cuba, Jackson Browne was in the film, Bonnie Raitt, Sean Penn, Benicio, all these people, people in the wider artistic community know Carlos and revere Carlos and revere his music. But he has had the same issue that all Cubans who remained on the island and lived on the island have had, which is how do you get that product out to the world when it's so difficult to get a visa to travel, or it's difficult, you can't get signed by a multinational. There's so many barriers, and there's been so many barriers for Cuban artists of all stripes for the last 50 years since the revolution.
And he seems just such like a passionate, introspective, just a really cool person, almost kind of the Cuban Bono, just utter zen, and he exudes that. So what was your first impression of him and just being in the same room with him and all talking and that sort of thing?
He was a bit of an enigma, and he is a bit of an enigma there, I mean, he's not everywhere, he's not on the scene.
He's everywhere and nowhere.
He's everywhere and nowhere, and he very much, is in, his own world. Carlos, is one of the most famous and revered artists in Cuba, and he's known as someone who's sort of the heart and the soul of the people, someone who expresses what the people think in a way that they can't articulate, and they look to him almost to to be that guy who finds a way to put something in perspective that explains their lives, their issues, their struggles, their dreams, their hopes, all of that. We had an incredible bond, I think, a very special bond, which I think a lot of people feel with Carlos because he is that guy. I mean, he's just got that incredible aura. But it almost felt like we knew each other in a previous life, a previous world.
So since you've seen the inside track and created these projects, is there any travel advice or anything that you can give to people heading to Cuba and wanting to experience the music and everything?
You know, the resorts are all-inclusive. They're great for an all-inclusive holiday. There's nothing wrong with them, but I mean, if you want to experience Cuba, you have to experience the country, like any country, and you have to experience the people, and you have to experience life, and you're not going to do that on an all-inclusive resort with a beach attached. So clearly, Havana is a great city. I mean, there's tons of music, there's tons of restaurants, there's tons of things to see, there's tons of character there. I mean, it's an amazing place. So, you know, go to Havana, check out Havana, go to Santiago de Cuba, which is also incredible, a beautiful place that has, and it's very different. You know, Santiago was the first capital, then it became Havana, but they're very different cultures in both of those places. But it's go see it, go do it, go experience it like anything. Go immerse yourself in the culture, and you know, you'll have a blast. I mean, it's a great place. It's a unique place. It's a place like no other in the world. So I would say, you know, go do and be.
Thank you so much, Ron, for joining us for this week's edition of the Gracie Note. You can find more about the Poet of Havana in this week's article in the description below, and by also visiting www.thepoetofhavana.com. Good luck on the rest of your journeys, and
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, everybody. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Don't forget to be graceful.